our next speaker and our next session. It is Iva from SysKit. Iva is our head of engineering, and she's going to talk about SysKit Point and some of the features and the resources you can use here to enable you to govern better your Office 365. So Iva, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Let me just share my slides. So as I was listening to Todd's session, I actually thought that the other name for my session should be how to skip all those PowerShell scripts, but still keep track of your Microsoft Teams. So let's just see how our tool, SysKit Point, can actually help you to keep track of Microsoft Teams, especially now when the demand has increased and a lot of companies had to implement Teams really quickly without proper governance plans. So for the short introduction, I will just tell you when we created this tool, our main goal and vision was to create a central point for Office 365 security and governance. So no multiple admin centers, although all those PowerShell scripts. But we also wanted to help IT teams keep control. And not only them, we wanted to help owners, like Susan mentioned. So owners also had to be part of those governance processes, but also team managers and chief security officers. So this tool was created with the vision to be really simple, highly visual, and that everybody can use it. So SysKit Point can help you keep control, gain the visibility, keep track of your inventory, but most importantly, it will help you with reliable reporting and also automating most common IT tasks. It supports not only Microsoft Teams, but also SharePoint Online, Office 365 groups, OneDrive, and of course, user reporting. So the first thing that can help you is our Microsoft Teams overview. So in one place, you actually get the complete inventory of your Microsoft Teams, meaning you can easily detect the recently created Microsoft Teams, but also recently deleted Microsoft Teams. And we all know that that can be a big headache, especially if you wanted to drive the adoption and you let your users create the teams as they want. But on the same screen, let me just turn on my laser. You can also see that you can check all the teams that have guests, which is really important due to the security. You can also check if there are any private channels. This is a specific type of task for every admin because creating private channels cannot bring anything good. And of course, this last column will tell you even if those teams are used or not. So if you see a green dot, it means that the team is healthy, it has some sort of activity. And if you see the gray one, it means that it's not actively used and you need to decide what you want to do with it. Overview and inventory is not everything. Management of those teams is also very important. For example, we know that the best practice is to always have at least 2 active owners for your teams. So in the same screen, you can easily detect all those teams that do not comply with that rule and then add them in bulk. So as you can see in my screenshot, which is pulled from SysKit Point, you can add multiple admins, multiple owners, and members as well to multiple teams. It's just simple. You simply select the teams, you add the people you want to add, and that's it. And that's not all. Of course, since we added the bulk management, we also enabled you to find old orphan teams. So if you have teams whose owners are disabled or deleted in Active Directory, you'll be able to list them with our tool SysKit Point and then easily exchange all those owners. This bulk management options can come in quite handy if you have a lot of people coming or leaving your teams. So this is really useful for the onboarding and offboarding, because if you decide to open one of your user profiles, you will easily detect all the memberships of your users and then either remove them with one click or add them to multiple teams using our bulk management. So when it comes to more detailed reporting, so it's not only inventory or bulk management, we also provided detailed reports for every of your team. So this tool can be, as I mentioned in the beginning, this tool can be used by both admins and owners. So they can easily check what's going on inside of their teams. So first section will tell you some basic guidelines like who created a team, when was it created, when was the last modified, who are the owners. But this section here, the overview part, actually gives you really interesting facts. And let's say these are the most important numbers that you need to know about your teams. So this number of user actually tells you who has any kind of access to your team. It's not only members and owners. So those are all the people who have any kind of access down to the file level. And now I can see there are 12 people who can access my content. Even most importantly, I can check if there are any anonymous links, which are really dangerous, and also how many external users I have on my team. It's really easy for me to check all the content. This includes all channels, again, down to the file level. And if you see a little red square on any of these documents, this signals you that permission inheritance has been broken here, meaning that someone outside your team has access to this file, and you can easily drill down and check for more details. Of course, we list all the members and owners, but it's not only that. We collect the information from Active Directory, we collect the information about SharePoint groups, Office 365 groups, and you can see the memberships. So you easily expand the group and then see the names of the people who are part of that group. So every icon has different meaning. For example, the red ones are my SharePoint groups, the green ones are my Active Directory groups, the orange ones are active users, and so on and so on. But of course, it's not only about security. We also help you keep track of activity, as I mentioned in the beginning. But here, for every team, I can easily see, is it being used? Which workloads are used? Is it only Teams, or do they use SharePoint Online as well? Do they use emails? I can track my activity trends. So how many hits does this team have? Who are the visitors? Which files are actively used? So a lot of more details can be explored here. If I'm interested in troubleshooting, or I'm suspicious that something not so good is going on when it comes to security, I can also create a contextual audit reports for every one of my teams. And then I can see who is doing what in my team, who added a user, who added a file, who deleted a file, who downloaded a bunch of files. So everything is visible. But if we are talking about reports, this report on my screen is probably the most important report that you'll ever need. It's called Permission Metrics, and it tells you who has access to your team across all channels, across all files, and you can even see if they're being directly shared or by sharing link, and that's not even all. You can simply select a person with whose access you're not satisfied and edit their permissions right in this report. After you do it, if I'm not happy that Adele is here in my team, after I click to remove it, you get a real live information about the current status of your teams. So it's quite easy to update security status of your teams. A special kind of worry for every owner and admin is, of course, external sharing, which Adis will tell us more about. But we always need to know who are our external collaborators. It's good for collaboration, but it's sometimes very terrified for the security teams and admins. So using the externally shared report that SysKit Point offers you, you get a complete listing of all the places in your teams. So it can be for multiple teams, all to who you're the owner of, or for the admins for all their teams. And then I can see which content has been externally shared and who are the people who actually access that content. And again, similar to the permission metrics report I mentioned in the previous slide, I can easily click on Megan and say that I don't want Megan to be able to access that file anymore. If that's not enough, you can completely list the all external users that are appearing in your environment. So it doesn't have to be only Teams. You can detect them on your sites, Office 365 groups, even OneDrive. And then you can be completely sure that you know who is actually able to access your organization content. What we decided to do is actually to create an audit report that will help you track what are they doing in your environment. So it's not only that they have the access, but what are they doing since they have that access? So if I click on the user activity report and I selected my external user, I actually get a detailed report saying me when did he log on, what did he do, did he deleted files, did he share with somebody else outside my organization. So everything is visible here, and you can easily expand to see more details. What's really interesting is that you can have the audit report for more than 90 days. So with SysKit Point, we allow you to store all this information for up to 2 years. The next feature that I would like to present you is something that we released just last week. And it's important because it helps you secure a Microsoft team on a continuous level. So with this feature, we like to call it permissions review. You automate that process of reviewing who has access to what in your Microsoft Teams. And you make this process less manual, you automate it, you include your owners, and you get to have more secure environment. So how does it actually work? So me as an admin, I will configure the period. How often do I want my owners to review their teams? So for example, I set it to 1 month. So every month they will get a task to their email saying, okay, now is the time for you to review your teams. And that's great. And they also get the reminder, so they cannot say that they forgot. And every time that this time comes, you can actually keep track of the progress. So there are multiple benefits of this. You can actually see how much your environment is secured when it comes to Microsoft Teams. You can delegate that responsibility from your IT teams to the owners. And since they do have more operational knowledge on who needs to have access, that's really nice because you will have more accurate reporting, and you will be sure that all the access is properly delegated or that it needs to be removed. When the review is done, I get the report showing me who actually finished my task. So we can call it a written accountability of each of the owners, that they actually review their teams and that they are sure that there is no unwanted access. But how does this look for the owners? So as I mentioned at the beginning, we wanted to make this tool really, really easy to understand and use. So when me as an owner get the task, I click on the link and it takes me to SysKit Point interface. And here we decided to pinpoint the most important things that need to be reviewed. So who are my members and owners? Who are the external users on my team? I can even check all the permission changes that have happened since the last review. And if I decide to click, for example, on all the shared files, I get a detailed report which file is shared, with whom, and when. So again, I can easily remove or edit the access to better suit my need. So if you have some feedback for us, if you want to try it, we are always eager to hear what you have to say. And since we are already talking about trying, we are already developing our next automation. So we are calling it the Lifecycle Management. With this one, we will help you to keep track of all those teams that have been created but are not actively used, so you can easily clean up. Again, once the admin set up the policy, for example, let me know whenever one team or more teams are not actively used for more than 90 days, send an email to the owner and ask him what to do with it. Of course, when the owner gets the email, we also lead him to SysKit Point so he can check if there's something important. Maybe that's some financial or legal documents that need to be saved for a longer period of time. And again, they get to choose if they want to keep it, archive it, or delete it. Since we are now developing it, it would be really, really interesting to hear your feedback. So this is my email. Please do not hesitate to contact us. Our product team is always really happy to talk and learn something new. So this was really, really fast. If you're interested in seeing more possibilities for SysKit Point, here are the contacts, so you can reach out to our sales or support. We are really happy to answer or to guide you through more possibilities, or you can even try the tool on your own. And that's it.
Thank you, Iva, for this presentation. We have some questions that we would like you to answer, so I'll start reading those, and you can help me a little bit see
Sure.
what can or cannot be done with the tool. Okay, so the first question is, when we manage the security, can we also give access to Azure AD groups?
Yes, I believe that we can. So yeah, you can also add Azure groups or directly to users.
And you mentioned during your presentation that it is like we also show the members of the Azure AD
Yeah.
groups as well. Okay.
Yeah, so it's easily tracked who actually has the access through those Active Directory groups. You don't see only the name of the group like in SharePoint. You can definitely check out more details.
Another question is related to can we define a custom period for the permission reviews, say for different sites and teams depending on the sensitivity labels? For example, if we want to review confidentially labeled site groups more often than the internal sites and groups?
So yeah, that's a really interesting question. At this release, at this point, no. But that's kind of feedback and feature request that we need, and we would like to build it for you. So definitely something to write down.
This basically brings us to the end of questions for now. Iva, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.